to the shooting.
And important to know, we will get back with Paul soon if there is information that people in LaSalle County need to know. We are keeping an active eye on that storm, but checking in again in Highland Park as the shelter in place is still in place for this man who is assumed to be armed and dangerous after opening fire on the 4th of July parade along Central Avenue. The police presence there has increased as the day has gone on. We've seen canines, drones, police officers on roofs, and a helicopter as well deployed. NBC5's Phil Rogers is in the heart of it all on Central Avenue. Phil, what have you seen there?
Yeah, Alex, in fact, just to add to that, just before you came to me, 2 uniformed ATF agents just got in their vehicle behind us here and left the scene. Of course, the ATF critical to this investigation right now. They will run a rapid trace of the rifle that was recovered from the rooftop, which we're going to show you here in just a moment. They'll run a rapid trace of that rifle through the ATF Tracing Center in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And they will try to determine a few things. Number one, where was that rifle first sold? When was the point that it left the chain of the manufacturing and distribution chain and got into the hands of its first owner? And then after that, they will try to determine if it was ever resold or possibly who might have been in possession of that rifle. And so again, that happens very fast when they have a mass shooting, even though it's a rather archaic system, which we've shown you on the air. It's literally a paper system that they use to trace those weapons. I want you to see something over here. Look here. I spoke to you earlier about a moment frozen in time. Here's where children were watching this parade, this little butterfly chair. I want to show you how close that child was to the shooting. Look over my shoulder here, go down the street, you'll see a stop sign there with flashing red lights. That's 2nd Street. That's where people were starting to fall. Right there across the street. And if you look over to the left across the street, you'll see the building there at the corner of 2nd and Central, and that is where they believe the gunman was shooting from the roof. We talked to Dr. David Baum on the air in the last hour, and he told you about tending to the casualties out there. And as he talked to me after our interview, he said it was his impression that the gunman was not directly up over the street, but possibly back on that building, more on 2nd Street, maybe a little bit north of Central, firing down. He said he had an unparalleled viewpoint of the corner where the majority of the casualties fell. Now, to amplify what Paul said on the air just a moment ago, and he mentioned the tornado warning for LaSalle County. No such severe weather up here in Highland Park, but it is starting to rain, and you see all of those evidence technicians up there working, and that's what they're doing up there behind us. They are scouring the scene, looking for clues. And they're doing that because, among other things, they need the evidence and they need it fast, but they don't want anything to get washed away. Alex.
Thank you, Phil. And we've heard from so many witnesses over the course of today. Our whole news team there on the scene in Highland Park trying to speak to as many people as they can. We've heard so many different accounts, including a woman who was right near that cosmetics store across the street at Uncle Dan's, which is the outerwear store, that was next door. She hid around that area and then to the Pancake House near store. She was talking about dropping her kids, picking them up because she was running as fast as she could. Let's hear from another witness now who was there along the parade route.
We were just, like any normal family and just trying to enjoy the parade, and all of a sudden we just heard a bunch of shooting and everybody started running and yelling, and it was just a scary thing. I got separated from him and I ran with my daughter and she was scared. I was trying to find a place to hide with her, and we eventually started running and we went to the nearest place, which was McDonald's in Highland Park. And we were there until, my cousin was able to pick us up and to bring us to a secure place to stay. A little shaken. I was scared for, my children, and it was just crazy experience. You don't expect it. It's Highland Park, and nowadays you don't feel safe now anywhere.
And she spoke to this woman talking about trying to stay with her family that she was with. We heard that from so many other witnesses who were there on the scene. The Highland Park Police Department is the reunification center, 1677.